record now. Oh, record. Did you hear that?
Hold on. Yes.
No, it's okay. I mean, I'm still editing stuff out. It's funny. I start recording, then you walk away.
No. I'm good. I had to.
Well, hello, everyone. It is us, not me, but us. That's right. Scott and this other guy, Chris Baber. I'm sure you've seen him on this channel, well, at least 2 other times before, right, Chris?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, as promised, and we've got enough, voter counts. Chris and I voted, and another good friend, his name is Christopher, and I can give him credit now, Christopher Webb. He voted us in to have 5150. Well, Chris, before I get into it anymore, ramble on way too much, because you are just as much a part of this, whatever it's going to really end up being. Why not you tell everyone out there a little bit about yourself?
Born and raised in Alabama. I'm a transplant to Virginia, courtesy of the military. I did 30 years and retired here back in 2018. And I'm just enjoying life. Finally catching up on all the movies that I didn't watch in the 90s. Because in the 90s, I didn't watch TV. Go figure.
So you were in the military for 30 years, correct? 30 years.
Yes, sir.
Well, you have every right. And I think everybody's watching this video right now should be damn thankful. We say that all the time, but really, if it wasn't for men and women like yourself, we wouldn't be able to do this right now. Because Lord knows, as much as we complained about last year, it's you and everybody else that keeps us capable of doing these things. So I know I'm always thanking you. I've had relatives that are veterans, and we should all be damn thankful for you and everyone else. Like I said, I don't repeat myself. I wouldn't be able to do this right now.
Well, I joined on accident. There was going to be a test in school, and one of my friends said, "Hey, I'm going to join the Army. Do you want to go along?" So I actually joined the Army so I wouldn't fail a test. And then I get down to Montgomery, Alabama, at an Air Force base where they enlist people. And the next thing you know, they're calling my mom because I'm 17. I'm 17 years old. And they're like, "Hey, your son's joining the Army. We need your permission. Do you have your, do we have your permission to enlist your son?" And my mom was like, "Huh?" She had no clue. So I actually joined the Army to skip school to miss a test. 30 years later, here I am.
That was one hell of you missed a test, but it turned out to be one hell of a test that you took, if you think about it. So it provided, a lot for you and your family. So, I mean, I've never been in your shoes, but I would imagine it. Yeah. And it's well-deserved, of course, naturally. Obviously, you're a huge fan of the horror community genre.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Michael Myers basically right behind you there. With you being a huge fan of that, how much involvement have you been, if at all, throughout the years?
When I was 7, either Coleman or Decatur, Alabama, my mom took me to a drive-in theater, and I watched Halloween in 1978. And then I didn't sleep for about 4 days after that movie. And then about 5 or 6 years later, when we could afford a VCR, I actually bought the Halloween movie on VHS, and brother, I wore it out. I watched it every damn day.
Not to interrupt, a good friend of mine who actually found this T-shirt for me. He sent me a photo. Obviously, we're going to get in discussions later about photos. I mean, it would be full of. He sent me a photo of one of the new images that came out on VH. I'll send you all. It's the new image of our latest image of Myers, where we get a good visual of his burnt side, and it's on. They did a good shot. Maybe if others have seen it, because I think he found it on Instagram, where somebody made it look like it was on VHS. It's pretty. I'm like, oh wow, that would be a great way to watch Halloween Kills on VHS. And I believe about 98% of us would feel the same way.
Yep. So I would even take Laserdisc at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I appreciate a lot of things more than ever. I think it's because with age.
Yeah.
Man, do I appreciate that old grungy, scratchy look more today than ever. Back then, I was the one that could play. In other words, watching a Van Halen live without a net concert on VHS, I was like, I wish I could watch this, what not knowing at the time. I wish I could watch this crystal clear. No, I still actually out there at my bar on the sign, I have my old VHS original copy of that concert. Actually, I had 3 of those VHS tapes because I wore the hell out of them. Kind of like my old cassettes. So, you know what?
What's funny? You know what's funny about that is the fact that kids today with DVDs, Blu-rays, and 4K, they don't understand that whole tracking button. Remember how you'd had to adjust the tracking button on your VCR?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my God.
They get over so easily.
Wow. Yeah. Oh God. I felt like you could almost feel it too sometimes. Like, if I just try a little bit more, it's like the old antennas adjusting them on your TV.
Yep.
Now, I told everybody recently that we were wanting to start. You know what? You went on a vacation. I didn't tell anybody where you went to because I want to respect your privacy. Because who knows, you might have been a hell of a lot more popular. And if anything, I want to keep the paparazzi off of you and your wife. That's up to you. Where did you guys go?
We went to Cancun. Actually, it was Cancun, but it was the northern strip. So technically, it was not the city or county of Cancun or whatever they call that. I guess it wouldn't be a parish. Anyway, if you fly into Cancun and drive an hour north, we are on the northernmost peninsula, which is about 4 miles away from Isla Mujeres, which was beautiful. Yeah, it was great.
I've never had an opportunity to go there. So I would imagine it's, I live in Ohio. Spell that out loud, folks. Oh,
the water is blue. The water is true blue. Yeah.
So you end up coming back. All right. Well, well, Chris.
Yeah.
I know I've given you credit. With the concept of, because let's face it, if you're going to try to start something, you got to have a name. It's like a ship or a bar. It's got to have a name. This, I think, has to have a name. And you suggested 5150. And I'm thinking, okay, you're doing that for me because of my love for Van Halen. Or we're not from California. I mean, I've been there plenty of times. A traveling individual. As you very much know, that's a code out there in California for someone who's crazy, who's basically flipped out, who's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And then maybe, I don't know. I don't understand the world we live in most of the time. So there could be a possibility that some of individuals that watch this, all 4 of them, they may think that, they're the crazy guys. No, trust me. I think you and I could both agree. We had our crazier days back when it was the 80s. Or actually, I want to start with the 70s when we had no fear of riding our bicycles with no helmets. We didn't care. If we fell off, we cried for a couple minutes and got back on.
When I was a kid, I had a big wheel, and I lived
Green Machine.
And I had a big wheel, and it was funny because I had an uncle who, to me, was a giant. As I grew older, he was only 5'6". But I was an asshole kid growing up. I used to terrorize his girlfriends. I used to crawl under the picnic table and bite their legs and stuff. So what he would do, he would build this makeshift ramp, and then he would launch me on the big wheel, and I'd go up in the air and I'd wipe out and cry, and then he'd put me back on it and do it again. So yeah, to me, the 70s were the big wheel, Fleetwood Mac, and I don't know, third one.
Okay, Kiss.
I'll get back to you.
Yeah. I mean, it was Kiss what got us started, I want to say, in the rock and roll. There's no doubt about it. I mean,
I was in the Kiss Army. Yeah,
Oh,
I play tennis racket. I play tennis racket like a pro in the Kiss Army. Yeah.
I had a Gene Simmons poster that scared the hell out of me as a kid. But you know what? I thank him for so many things. I know not everybody agrees to his politics or his ways, but hey, I'm thankful because hey, it was Gene Simmons. Come on. And of course, after the loss of Edward Van Halen, all of a sudden he doesn't like to take credit of finding Van Halen because him giving so much appreciation and homage to even Edward Van Halen alone. But you know what? The history has always said that Gene was one of the guys that helped Van Halen. So you know what? I'm sticking with that. And if Eddie were alive today, he'd be like, that's Eddie. Yeah, you gave credit to 5150. Well, it has to do with, I guess, our age thing too.
Yeah, I like that.
So yeah, Chris, if you could guess,
next year we'll be 50, 52, 51 next year.
Yeah, and I'm going to be 33 forever. And that's actually not that maybe this will get edited out, but I was 33 2 years in a row. I completely forgot the one when I went to 34, I stayed 33. And you know what? It was the 33, the second part was probably better than the first part. At least,
when you mentioned Kiss. When you mentioned Kiss, I vividly remember the movie they did where they go to the park.
Oh,
Kiss meets the Phantom. And then I had
the voices were dubbed over.
Yeah, I had Love Gun, I had Rock and Roll Over, and then the one thing I remember, when they came out, they split. So like, we're going to do our individual albums, and the only album that I bought was Ace Frehley, and I'm glad because his album was the best. And
to this day, I think every fan, even if you are a diehard fan or generally a fan, everybody agrees Ace was the best album out of them all. There's no doubt about it. I agree totally %.
No doubt.
It started with the live album with me on Kiss. And then time went by, it was Love Guns. So I'm always
Love Gun was good.
Kiss here in Dayton, Ohio. Back in the day when we had the place in the 70s and the 80s, it was a place called Hair Arena. It's been one of the things that's been demolished. So when I drive by, it breaks my heart. Granted, that area is just went to hell anyways. But Hair Arena was the place back in the day, and Kiss had been there quite a bit of time. So anyone that's our age, that's from around here, they could tell some great stories, about Kiss there. So, I mean, before I interrupt you and myself, so we're going to stick with 51. I guess the 5150 guys on this, and I mean, I like it. It sounds good. Obviously, I'll admit I'm the one that's the 51 part. So you know what, it is what it is. And I gotta know, Chris, definitely we are going to always stick to really what guys like. Yes, the horror stuff. It's always going to be a big thing, but we love movies in general. I think Chris and I, from over let's say the past 2 years, we've heavily talked about a lot of culture films during the 80s. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, sir.
Music definitely is a big subject of ours. So if you are into music, especially our age now, Chris, I should have asked you this before. I'm not going to talk about rap music. So if you enjoy it, feel free to talk about it with others, but don't expect me to, because I mean, I guess I like the Blondie's. I think I always said she started rap back in 1980. Rap.
She did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fat Five Freddy. Yeah.
And, oh dear Lord. Nah, I'm going to kick myself in the butt. I can't think of him right now. It was the hip hop, hibbity hop, don't stop to the bang bang boogity bee. There's the name. It's somewhere on the screen right now. Those are the only one, of course, But why am I going into rap? Because I said I wasn't going to talk about. But obviously, Chris and I are going to talk a lot about music on this. Maybe not so much today, but because let's face it, there's some other cool things that are going on right now in the horror genre. I think you and I both know that quite a bit.
Well, on a caveat to your music comment.
Okay.
Before we started, I'm watching a classic Pink Floyd live at Nebworth from 1990. And it is amazing. There's a lot of Pink Floyd stuff coming out, and I'm a huge, I would say that Pink Floyd is probably my number two band in the history of music. I won't tell you what my number one band is because I'll get ostracized.
No, Chris, because this is your show too, so you have to go with your heart. It's your
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay, fine. Duran. I said it. Thank you.
Anybody our age is going to tell you Duran kicks ass. If they see him live, they'll have a different heart. Now, back in the 80s, it wasn't cool for us to like Duran. But today,
no, in the 80s, it wasn't cool to like Def Leppard, but I've seen them multiple times. They're great.
Yeah. You're right. I've seen, because I've seen Def Leppard. We discussed it earlier down in Cincinnati, which is about an hour from me. See, Dayton is kind of like, okay, here's Columbus and here's Cincinnati. We're right in the middle. And I've seen Def Leppard down in Cincinnati. And of course, I told you yesterday, this is damn thankful that I had an opportunity, not once, but twice, to see Rush. You know, I'm very thankful.
Lucky.
Yeah. I did get to see the Beatles, so I guess there it is.
Well, we talked earlier about my opinion as far as drummers. For a long time, I had always said that aside from like Keith Moon or all that shit from like Led Zeppelin and the Beach Boys, I personally thought that Stuart Copeland was the best drummer I ever heard. Then I changed my mind. I think he's like a great percussionist. But I had watched a video not too long ago a friend had sent to me, and it was Neil Peart in Germany. And I'm like, there will never be a drummer as good as Neil Peart ever. I mean, he's the god. He's the god of drumming.
And Chris, I think I'm not want to put words in your mouth right now because it has a lot to do with ageism. 50, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
I think as we get older, we tend to appreciate these guys more now than we did back, let's say 20, 30 years ago. I myself, it was like, no, you're not a lot. No one's better than Edward Van Halen. No one. Older now, he's always going to be my hero. But, I have so much appreciation for so many other amazing, guitarists musicians out there. The list could go with a drummer. Neil, yes, watching that man play live is like watching a god with those drumsticks. I mean, it's just, the more and more I think about it, I almost get, believe it or not, I'm a pretty emotional person. So then I start thinking about Neil Peart up on stage, and it's just, if you kids have never have witnessed or watched, there's so much YouTube out there with Neil Peart.
Yeah.
If you owe it to yourself to watch Neil Peart play the drums.
Well,
Rush,
and then
those three guys are like, how do three guys put out so much sound? It's just mind blowing.
Well, I mean, Geddy Lee is amazing. One thing that I do want to say is, of course, on Netflix, they have the Trailer Park Boys, and I binge watch it. And I think it was about like the second to the last season where the guitarist got kidnapped on Trailer Park Boys, and that was kind of funny. But now Neil Peart, I mean, this guy's in his 60s doing that drum solo for a good 20, 25 minutes. And it was just, I mean, that was a show. I mean, he has so many bits to his drum kit, and then it spun around and he flipped his chair, and then he just continued. I'm like, yeah.
Practically like that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not the biggest Rush fan, but I will say that, and honestly, I mean, between like 2112 or Moving Pictures, I think I have those on my phone, but no, my favorite drummer as far as talent, it's Neil Peart. You can't beat him.
Yeah, he's and the funny thing of it is we could go on about other drummers and they'll all pretty much, I'd hate to put words in their mouth, but they would all pretty much say, yeah, Neil Peart's pretty much the man. He was the man. He is the man. And I think right now, people that are watching, especially if they're our age, they're probably thinking of other drummers right now that we're not even putting out there. And chances are they're right about those drummers if they, care to participate in the comment section. There's no doubt about it.
Well, I mean, I've seen Lars Ulrich live a few times. I've seen God, who was it? I mean, Larry Mullen Jr. I mean, he has a basic style of playing drums, but it depends on what you're into. I will say that the most electrifying live concert I went to was probably Metallica in 1992, and Lars.
He's a phenomenal drummer. All of them.
He was on fire.
Yeah,
dude, Lars. I mean, Lars was like from beginning to end. He was. He was on fire.
I mean, those guys, Metallica. Why am I stating the obvious? These guys, like Rush, Duran Duran, Def Leppard, they're professionals. They are true professional artists, and their craft, they have to keep up with it. And maybe I'll grow up to start following something else that a lot of them are doing, is they're keeping themselves in shape, health-wise. And I mean, that's something that and let's face it, Vince Neil needs to realize that too.
Yeah, he needs to lose weight.
Yeah,
he needs to lose weight.
I mean,
you mentioned Def Leppard as far as that goes. Rick Allen, to me, is a hero because dude's got one arm. One arm.
He's now a U.S.
I watched him play. I watched him play live. I'm like, and he's like the baby of the band. I mean, everybody else is like in their 60s, and he's like, young 50s. So he's like he was a kid when like Pyromania came out. Or a High and Dry. But,
and he was he's hell of a drummer with two arms back then. Oh, and he played like a jazz percussionist too.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah, you're right. I'm thinking about him more and more, what he's gone through, and having the opportunity to see him live. Just thinking about what you're bringing up, it's amazing. That's a good individual to bring up, no doubt about that.
When he came out of his injury, I think Def Leppard was playing like a Monsters of Rock tour, might have been with Ozzy, and they had a backup session drummer on stage to take over in case he got fatigued or whatever. And then the story goes that the backup drummer said, "You know what, Rick, I'm leaving. You got this." And he walked out.
Yeah. Def Leppard, without a doubt, they have my thought. I mean, they're a huge part. I want to say a huge part. I mean, granted, High and Dry is when I really got it, but this was their second album.
Yeah.
Would you just listen to Def Leppard? And let's face it, I want to say about 87 is when Hysteria really came out. And my God, Pour Some Sugar on Me. I appreciate
it. And that was the last single.
It was the last single, but oh my God, everywhere you went, if you went to clubs and there's 18 and up nightclubs.
Yeah.
Other girls always went nuts every time they'd hear Pour Some Sugar on Me. And it's kind of like, today, I would be like, please play it compared to the crap that's out there now. Sorry.
Yeah, my junior year of high school, when Def Leppard, they played Birmingham, Alabama, and all the girls that went to that concert, the very next day, they were all wearing the Hysteria T-shirt, and I was like, man, I kind of should have gone, but I didn't. I don't know why. Probably because I didn't have money. I was probably too busy buying tickets to go see Duran Duran or Depeche Mode or whatever.
And I feel sorry for people. It's that when we were in even generations before, we were so lucky because concerts were really affordable. I mean, I've been to 14 Van Halen concerts, 13 of them here in Ohio, and honestly, the majority of those concerts were affordable. Today, good luck.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think when I was in your neck of the woods back in '94, when I saw Pink Floyd, which is who was behind me, at the Horseshoe, I think I paid $130 for that ticket in '94. So, but it was worth it. Definitely worth it.
Yeah. Pink Floyd.
And I was the only person there. Yeah, I was the only person there not smoking weed.
You didn't have
sadly.
to. You were
the only one not smoking weed. It sucked.
Let's just say you didn't have to. You know as well as I do. Anybody who's been to the Horseshoe or seen, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, Chris, you and I could go on and on and on and on and about music. And I think maybe we should definitely think of, I don't know, we'll figure that out later, because I know I could, I start picturing other bands, other concerts, et cetera, et cetera. And because I know you love the Cars. We could definitely go on and on.
Look, I'm the only guy that can have a mixtape that has 9 Inch Nails, Wham, and Rob Zombie, and listen to it. I listen to all of it. Anyway, let's talk Halloween.
And they might be giants. I see your we'll get into that some other time, to be fair to others.
Yeah, I mean, I'll listen to anything but Nickelback, so that's cool.
Before we get into the Halloween stuff, I got to ask you something that kind of, Chris, I know you love college football, and there's a lot of guys out there, hell, I'm always from that Buckeye State, but I grew up around it. Let's see, Ohio, we really don't have professional teams here. I mean, in Cleveland, they apparently have had the Browns. Cincinnati's apparently had the Bengals. But I also understand the Cleveland baseball team used to be called the Indy. Let me try that again. I was going to say something. They used to be called the Cleveland Indians. Now, because of cancer culture, it is now called. Now, is this the sequel to the Guardian of the Galaxy, or is it they're now Cleveland Guardians? I don't know if that made any sense. I try to, in my head it did. But yeah, they're now called the Cleveland Guardians.
Well, I guarantee you I have that here in Virginia with the Redskins being the football team. I hope that the people that changed the Cleveland name consulted with Charlie Sheen about their name change, because Wild Thing probably didn't approve.
Yeah, I mean, I try so much to stay away from a lot of this, politically correct crap. I know I call it me being an old fart, a grumpy old man.
No,
a lot of this,
it's not that.
There's a lot of things that I know that out of there's certain levels that, in other words, I guess if my name was Dave Chappelle, I could say a lot of things right now and people would find it funny, but then you're going to have a small amount. They're like, oh, you shouldn't say that. You know what? Learn to laugh because it's a joke. But this whole, cancer culture BS thing, I wipe my butt with it, honestly. I mean, that's how I feel. That's how I'm always going to feel. If it's too sensitive to you to go watch PBS.
Everyone is offended now.
Yeah.
Everything's offensive. Blah, 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 blah.
It's probably anyway, the guests.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, it's just like you can't do anything without somebody being offended.
Yeah.
Which, we come from a different background as far as, or we come from a different timeline that the people do today. We maybe have thicker skin,
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm Democrat or Republican. I'm just saying that I have thicker skin than the people nowadays.
Yeah, because as far as I'm concerned, it's always going to be the Washington Redskins in my book and the Cleveland Indians as well. So, and another thing too, I know I've had some friends of mine ever since I was in high school, and they're gay, and even they are like, they have the same, maybe because we're all the same age, stuff like when they hear about political correctness. I don't hear them whine and cry over things that they hear, but you know what? I just had to get that off my chest because I was standing at a McDonald's and I see this Cleveland Guardians. I'm like, every day I can't go anywhere without hearing some whining. And I guess that was on Fox News. Yeah, because every McDonald's, if they have TV, it's Fox News. So I don't know. I just had to get that off my chest. Is there anything that's been, irritating you lately before we get into Halloween stuff?
No, I made the appropriate decision to stop watching news many months ago. I mean, I just, once news went to 24/7, then it got to the point where they're creating it, they're not reporting it.
Yeah.
Now I'm good. I'm just I'm catching up on Olympics. Last night the opening ceremonies were amazing. Japan's a beautiful country.
All about that son of a biscuit eater.
Yeah, Japan's a beautiful country. Yeah, I lived in Japan for 4 years, and it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful country, and they did it right. They did it. Cool. They definitely did it right.
Well, shame on me, because I did wanted to see, because I like the open ceremonies, and I the Summer Olympics. Yeah, I do like that stuff. And I'll be honest with you, call me a guy, but when the women's gymnastics, okay. But
well, watch 3-on-3 women's basketball. That is awesome. Yeah, I watched the USA play France today, and it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, when it comes to watching real athletic, I can't talk today. Real athletics, I enjoy that. I always do. Like NFL back in the day when it was real football. Sorry for all you NFL fans today, but today there's too many rules. There's too many commercials. There's too many cushions. Back in the day, guys used to actually get hurt and wear thin pads and say, when it's just a flesh wound, put me back in. Today it's no. Yeah. To me, it's a bunch of wimps. Oh, I better watch what I'm saying, because I may offend some crybabies out there.
Happy birthday. Bye.
Coffee is an addiction.
Oh yeah, see something about the kid, and they still say, even if it is an addiction, they still say it's actually healthy for men. So I'm doing one healthy thing. Damn it.
It's a diuretic, so that's good. So it keeps your colon clean.
Yeah, healthy. This is definitely being edited out. So
yeah, that's fine.
All righty.
We can resume. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's okay. I mean, life calls.
Yeah.
All right. I guess we're back from that amazing commercial break. If there was one, I can always figure that out later. I guess there's been news going around. Of course, naturally, I've got some copies of them. I can always send them to you if you don't have them yourself. Sure. I know you've witnessed these. I mean, every other YouTuber on this genre topic. Naturally, why bother talking? I've been talking about the latest photos that's been popping up for Halloween Kills. Stupid question, Chris. Have you seen the photos?
Yes, sadly I have. Well, the one photo I do like is the cover of the Total Film magazine. Mm-hmm. That was kind of cool. I mean, because that's a publicity shot to promote the movie. But I fear that they're going to show too much in regards to this movie, even though we know it's Halloween Kills and he's going to kill everybody. Yeah. In this movie, I didn't, we had talked about the trailer, and in the H-18 trailer, they showed that closet scene where he was in the closet. I'm like, well, why would you do that? In this new trailer, they showed the playground scene. And sadly for us, because nowadays we have a pause button and a rewind button, we can figure out who was on the playground or on that merry-go-round with the H3 masks when they showed it. And it's just kind of, they just give away too much. I'm not going to say who was on that playground scene, but you could line up just from the trailer who was killed, and it's like you didn't have to show that.
Like what you're saying there with the rewind, and plus we have higher quality, even YouTube videos now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's the like you were talking about that the cover of the magazine and all that. I've seen both of them. It's more the John Carpenter at the top. Naturally, I'll show them here. Talk about the the photos. Well, I remember we were discussing that because you were at least saving me from what you have figured out from the trailer, from the merry-go-round. And then, of course, I think, during a private conversation last week where I accidentally kind of figured out that might possibly be the Myers house, where I zoomed in and I seen the handrail. Yeah. It just made me think of the handrail in that old house, or even today's obviously existing. I could be wrong, and I'm fine if I am wrong about that. But we all know, granted, there's no one out there that's technically saying, oh, you're definitely going to get that Myers house. You know, there's nothing written on it. We'll know, obviously, after we see the film. But I think every Halloween fan out there pretty much has figured it out that the Myers house will be in this film. And even some of the photos that we're looking at, you can't help but think, oh, that's the Myers house, especially with Michael looking out the window.
They did a good job as far as recreating it. I had mentioned before, I was kind of shocked that they didn't use the replica house of Carolina to film this.
You were telling me about
then I realized what they ended up doing was, even though they rebuilt the Myers house inside and out.
Well, real quick, I don't mean to interrupt because it's all related. Where exactly, in case there's somebody who's watching that is very curious about what you're saying, could you give me more details, like, what you know about this house, where it's at again?
Oh, yeah. It's in Greensboro, North Carolina, which is ironic because they filmed Halloween in Wilmington, which is a couple hours away. But the reason I noticed that
2018, that's right. Sorry.
Yeah. But I'm guessing the reason they didn't use that house is because they ended up making, on a soundstage, the two houses to the left and the right of the Myers house were also rebuilt. I mean, of course, those two houses are facades.
But the house that you're describing, from like the conversation that we had, if I'm ever going to take trips someday down the road, I'd like to put that on the list to see it myself. Because did you say that everything practically about this house, except for his kitchen, for like...
Well, the owner is Kenny. Kenny owns the house. He recreated it based on all the blueprints he could find from Pasadena. But it's, he installed, he had a small theater outside his front yard. Mm-hmm. He went in and went full outdoor drive-in theater screen in his front yard. So that he does, private movie showings. He travels around to like different like sets, like Pet Cemetery, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and stuff like that. But his house is amazing, and if you go in there, it's pretty awesome, because no matter what room you go into, there's a treasure trove of just collectibles. I'll never forget going into his guest bathroom and just seeing like Beetlejuice stuff, collectible VHSs, and it was just everything in his house was a collectible.
Culture classic house.
He had like French Halloween 1 posters that were like Subway size.
Wow.
In his living room. So it's like, oh, hope you got insurance, because you got a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. Now you just mentioned the name Sandy. Mm-hmm. Now I know who you're talking about. From what I understand, you're going to and we'll get, by the way, obviously, Chris and I'll talk more about these photos, but I understand you are going to a convention sometime in the near future. Yeah. And is it Sandy Johnson, I believe?
It's Sandy Johnson. Okay. Yeah. Her and her husband, Dan, are just tremendous people. We talk regular. All of us as fans from the Halloween franchise are so happy that she kind of came out of hiding. And of course, I'll just get a notification that Sandy Johnson added a new photo. That's funny. But,
I'm not sending you these photos now because I know you're using your phone. That's why I'm waiting till we're done.
No, she's wonderful. She's a great person. And, for the longest time, we always wondered, what in the hell happened to Judith? And then she kind of popped back up when H18 came out. And then when I met her and I met her husband, we just kind of hit it off. And then the next thing you know, she's asking my daughter to be her picture portrayal that she's doing for her website. And it was just, she's a great person.
So you think, and this is totally up to you and her, of course.
Sure. Yeah.
You're going to go to a convention closer to you. I myself, I'm going to one in Cincinnati, Horror Hound in September. Maybe when you
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I'm really looking forward to it myself. One of my oldest friends, he's going. Someone else, like I mentioned his name earlier, Christopher Webb. He lives like 9 miles away from me, Christopher Webb, and he said he was going. But you, obviously, where you're going to go, you get a chance to meet up with your friend Sandy Johnson, as we all, Judith Myers. Maybe you get a chance to talk to her. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. Maybe we could talk her into joining us sometime here, on one of these, the 5150 plus Sandy guy. No, that doesn't sound right. 5150 plus Sandy Johnson will join us sometime. I guess that sounds about right.
No.
But that's just me asking, really.
I'll ask her, and based on her schedule and availability, about 99.6% she'll say yes.
I didn't even think about that right now, because she is going to be busy right now. So hopefully, maybe I should have asked you this privately, but hopefully someday we could get her on here. That would be awesome. And
she will.
And I'll do everything I can to make sure that she doesn't get the same boring questions from me that she does from everybody else. Probably it'll be like, "Hi, Sandy. How was it like to be in the movie?" Yeah, I won't do that.
No, you gotta. What you need to do is ask her about Gas Pump Girls.
Okay.
And the other movies that she was in, as far as the late 70s, early 80s. Of course, Gas Pump Girls included the was it Kirsten Baker from Friday the 13th Part 2?
I'm running a blank on all of it right now.
Yeah.
I'll look into it though.
Look into it. But no, if we can, line something up in the future, and I can talk to her, I have zero doubt that she would have any problem being on this show with us.
And that all being said, hopefully, you and this is saying something directly to people that are watching now. I'm hoping you guys will understand that Chris and I are still working out the kinks. This is, even though I've done YouTube videos, before, but this is Chris and I'll probably have, let's just say, hopefully as each video progresses, we'll get better at this. And who knows, maybe we'll have more opportunities to have someone on here like Sandy Johnson, or even you, a viewer yourself, that's been just as part of this as Chris and I have been. So, I wanted to make sure that I at least say that out loud before I even forget. So, but I would love for her to be on here, not just because she's Judith Myers, but hell, she's a good friend of yours. And I'm hoping, if anything, that would help her feel even more naturally comfortable to join, something like this. So that would be really, really cool. One thing I want to ask.
Be prepared for the.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, be prepared for the first couple of minutes. She's probably going to talk about her cats, because she's got some gorgeous cats. That they travel with. But her and Dan and their cats, that's her babies.
One thing I've noticed with there's been some mask makers or finishers that we collect from. Sure. I think they're big cat fans, like
Rick,
Terry Lambert.
Now, I know Rick Ramby is.
Yeah, Nick Malpagano, of course, as we all know.
Well, he's got poop. Well, Nick has poopsie.
Else I can help with?
Siri's got to include herself. Sorry.
Yeah. Now Nick has poopsie.
Poopsie. I think I have some of Poopsie's hair on my NHK.
Do you?
Who knows? Who knows? But you know what? There are a lot of people out there that are a huge fan of cats. So if she's got anything interesting to share, then, naturally they're going to enjoy it as well. I grew up with cats, so I'm more than cool with that. There's no doubt about that. There's one thing I want to ask you real quick. In these photos, back to that subject, obviously, these photos that we've all had a chance to see. There's one I think is possibly photoshopped. Have you seen the photo where you obviously have David Gordon Green, who's having a conversation with Nick Castle, Mr. Nick Castle himself, the original shape, the real man who played the majority of Michael Myers? I announced that very clear because I don't like somebody.
Is that the one where he's holding the mask on his left arm?
Correct.
Me personally, I think it's real.
Well, the next time you get a look at it, like I said, I'd send them to you now. You may already have it or not. If you zoom in on the mask itself, because I would imagine a lot of individuals that finish masks themselves, they want to get a good look at this mask. If you zoom in, I'm doing it right now. Maybe I could do it here on the screen. You could see very clearly where the eyes are.
At the bottom of the mask, it does look like it's maybe added, because the line on the neckline versus the actual photo, that does look like it was added, but I don't know.
Well, it's not just that. Look at the eyes in the mask. You could clearly see the right eye of the mask. There's an eye right there, someone's actual real eye. And then, of course, the left eye, where the makeup, where obviously, as we all know through history, Michael was, but I was purposely zooming in on that just to get a good look at that. And I'm like, whoa, it's kind of creepy as hell looking at first. Because there you see, obviously, Nick Castle holding a mask in his left hand. And then all of a sudden you see it's obviously a real eye. Like it could be James Jude Courtney's, you know what I mean? So that's why I was thinking, and I didn't even think about those lines that you described. Because even when they say burnt corduroys, it looks photoshopped there. Because I'm looking at it right now. The lines where his arms at. I just I try my best not to analyze these photos, that much, because if I do, I'll really start imagining what's seen and who's there or who's not there. But when I looked at that, as I'm looking at it right now, I think it's photoshopped. That's not really holding that mask.
And it could be. The one thing I do agree with you on, as far as the trailer, is when they show him on the porch and then they cut away and then they show a close up of him like walking away. That was awful. Background imaging. That was terrible.
I didn't mean to. I don't mean to bring anybody down, and I don't like to nitpick stuff because I want to have fun with all this. I want to go the theater experience. I want to come out at the end where everybody enjoyed it. That is my goal for every single Halloween fan out there. But it's just here in this room. Granted, I can't really do it with a webcam, but here in this room with having cheap lights, that's a challenge alone, getting a green screen properly well lit, because you're wanting to light a green screen separate from you. And a lot of times you see a lot of reflections of the green screen on somebody. Now, granted, I'm not saying that I've seen that, but it just looked like it wasn't. When you're obviously anybody that's worked with film or video, there is layers of filters that you can do. Like, let's face it, we all know the damn Marvel movies. A lot, or the Star Wars, where there's a lot of green screen stuff. They could do some things that are just absolutely amazing to make it look more natural. Now, we all know by now, this production, Universal Studios, Blumhouse, Halloween Kills, they've got enough money to where, and I know it sounds like an ass, but my first instinct when I was like, I'm like, that looks just too not good. That looks like a bee. Well, I mean, like you brought it up, which looks like the shark. I'm still thinking that.
Yeah, I mean, it looks. Well, for one thing, if it's real, I've been to bonfires. You can't get that close to fire and not feel the effects.
Oh yeah.
So if he's on that porch and the house is burning, you're not just going to stand there. I mean, you're going to move away from that fire, because that gets hot. But when they showed the close up of him kind of like stepping down and walking toward the firemen, I noticed. I'm like, yeah, that looks kind of cheap.
Well, that and it's obvious today, and I was making fun of the, back in the day, football was real. They played with their bleeding, broken arm, whatever.
Yeah.
Today, obviously, and we use the word Hollywood a lot. There are more rules that are laws to protect even the stuntmen, women, stunt people. There we go. And actors. There's more union rules and laws. Yeah. And even if it wasn't James G. Courtney, if they had a stuntman for James G. Courtney, there's laws to protect them. So naturally, as I said that then, I should add it in now. We're not going to see the Dick Warlocks like we did back in 81. That's just, let's light my ass up and go. So that I should make that not that I know all the rules, but most of us know if you look into a little bit, they have more laws to protect everyone out there that are honest. So that would make more sense for that to look more, the way that it did. And I'm not picking on it. I just that's just me being nitpicky with my own stupid editing with videos.
Well, the cool thing is we now know that they're, since they announced that, of course, James Courtney is playing Michael. Mm-hmm. Nick will have another cameo. And then during the flashback scenes, there's an actor named Aaron that's going to play, 1978 Michael.
Yeah.
At the house with Lonnie Elam and all that stuff. So I'm just looking forward to the movie. And I'm so glad they're not showing flashbacks in the trailer. I don't want to see that. I
wish I had seen the photo somewhere. Maybe I'll find it in time where the individual that's, we should have made it very clear. If you don't want to hear any about this Halloween kill stuff, then you don't want to watch it. But then again, there's, like I said, there's been so many YouTubers covering this. I did see a photo.
Well,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's why I didn't talk about the playground. I'm trying to be very minimal when it comes to the playground scene in the trailer, because
hell of a lot better job than I am. I'm ruining it for everybody, and you were being smart by saying, "Well, I've seen something, but I'm going to do my You know what? I'm not going to talk about a photo that I did see, because it may not be real. So maybe I.
Go ahead. What is it?
The actor. There's apparently. From other trailers, not the one that we've seen, the official one recently, but there's obviously an actor who's playing, we'll say, stand-in for Donald Pleasance, because as we all know, he's obviously sadly gone.
Sure.
But the actor who's playing looks very much a lot like Donald Pleasance. It's just, like I said, I seen the photo once. Maybe it was on YouTube. I haven't really looked into it. I mean, it's funny because it came up. When I was doing some search, I came up with a new NECA Halloween with Donald Pleasance. Looked pretty cool, but
I saw that came out earlier this week. That actually was it's very cool.
Yeah, I have the H2 action figure that I actually have in my display, my DTOF with my actual or Cemetery Gate Warlock with the blood tears, and I had to put the blood because that's my favorite, the blood tears and all that. So
yeah. I really wish I had the opportunity. I had the opportunity about 15 years ago to buy I think it was NECA, the porch scene where it's like Myers and Loomis.
Yeah.
And then it was probably like $90, maybe less. If you try to buy that now, dude, it's like $1,000 or more. I mean,
I'm fortunate enough to where I do have the Myers, the adult and the kid, I have that, and I've seen that on eBay. People are asking $500-$600 for it.
Yeah.
I still have every single, but the pumpkin itself, granted, I'd have to replace the battery, but it no longer, when you push it, it doesn't lie. The string that goes around young Michael's clown mask, it's dry rotting, but it's still there.
Okay.
But yeah, I still have those. There was one time I'm like, maybe I should try it. No, I see if I sell it, I'm going to regret it. So to me,
don't sell it.
It's a priceless item that eventually I'll give, because Zach, he's got two of my masks already that I bought in the history. He's got a Warlock mask and actually the NHK in his bedroom. So
lucky
it is. He just kind of looks at it, whatever. He doesn't.
I look at my NHK. My NHK is gold. I love when I got that in the mail. I'll never forget. I was in Roanoke for work, and then I got a notification that said that my package had been dropped off by Nick. And I drove like a bat out of hell to get back to my house so I could see that NHK. And when I pulled it out, I'm like, this is it. This is the one. I mean, he just does great work. I was going to ask you that real quick. Because a lot of people are talking about the opening title sequence or title card. What do you think is going to happen for this Halloween Kills movie as far as the opening sequence?
It's a good question. The first thing that just popped into my head, possibly something different that we've never seen before. They're going to go roll. This just like the first thing popped in my head. Since we very much could tell from the trailer, it's not rocket science here. Thank God it's going from obviously Lori and daughter and granddaughter in the truck going. And then, of course, the house is on fire. Okay, been there. We all know that. Something tells me we're going right from the end to the beginning of Halloween Kills with really no major, title trailer.
Okay.
Sense. But that's just the first thing that popped off the top of my head. Then I started thinking, okay, let's say we're Blumhouse. We're the creators of this film. Is that an intelligent idea? I mean, you're always going to be on eggshells. As far as I'm concerned, if you are seriously have all the money in the world to create a Halloween film, the rights and everything else, no matter what you do, half the people are going to dislike you and the other half, So you're going to take a gambling risk no matter what you decide to do. Yeah. I kind of say, look, I loved what they did in 2018. I think every fan out there did how the reverse, watching the candle. Yeah. That was cool as hell. There might have been a couple of us like, oh, that's stupid. No, I thought it was cool. It was I didn't expect to see that. Granted, yes, that wasn't the first thing we seen in 2018 with the film, but still, who knows? Now that I think about it, they could do a little teaser at the beginning of Kills where, I don't know, they leave in the truck or something. Then the title comes up like it did in 2018. Like we see 5 minutes of the film, then the title comes up. I don't know. You asked me a loaded
You're probably
question.
Right.
You got it from me. I never thought about it.
Yeah, I mean, we know they're not going to do a pumpkin opening up with a skull inside, but I will give credit to H18 as far as the accuracy of them making that pumpkin look just like 78.
Yeah,
because they did it. I have one behind me, and it's pretty accurate.
Yeah,
but no.
I'm sure when you look at it yourself, there's nothing. Yeah. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not. In other words, this is the word I'm looking for because it's more than one. It's not. Nothing about it is as accurate. It's not proportionally not centered. It's everything is naturally cut. Like boom, like a signature.
Yeah.
So that's kind of hard to do to mock or mimic that concept. But that wouldn't be a bad idea.
But honestly, I wouldn't be upset if they even went back to an Halloween 5 introduction because out of all the openings, that's the Halloween 5. Even though the movie sucked, the intro is probably in my top 3. With the pumpkin getting stabbed and all the knife noises.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Because I had that mixed up for some reason because 4 is obviously just B-roll scenes of the Midwest per se. And then I was for some reason, I was thinking of Halloween 6 is opening up. I don't know why.
Well, actually, Halloween 4 feels mostly out of all the movies and all the whatever timeline you're on, Halloween 4 has the most fall feeling.
It does
from all of them. Yeah, it does.
I know
it's legit. That's Alan Howarth. He's the man. Alan Howarth is the man.
I just had another thing pop in my head. Since we're,
Mhm.
if retailers were smart to make, because it's all about the money, the season of the witch masks, as we all know, we're seeing it we've seen glimpses of it in 2018.
Yeah.
We know enough, just like what you are being smart and kind and not sharing what you believe, that you could tell who are wearing those masks.
Yeah.
But retailers, if they were smart, they would boost the prices up on those, because in all reality, the prices on those 3 masks are not as high as the Myers mask that Trick or Treat Studio sells. So if I was them, increase the prices. And I know somebody out there, or at least 2 of you, are going like, no, don't. Then go to Amazon. They're cheaper there.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to get at, what if, and I know this isn't going to happen, but if it does, you heard it from me. What if the opening title has the Season of the Witch 3 masks involved in it? I know the odds of that are slim to nothing, but still.
Oh, I know. I'd be okay with it.
Or the mask itself that everybody's talking about.
Well, I mean, when it comes to the Halloween 3 masks, it's funny that they brought them back for this one as a tribute to the franchise.
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't know. I think there's just way too much fan service from what I've seen in the trailer so far. I don't know. That's my opinion. I'm probably wrong.
Everybody has. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just it. If I always feel like if you don't agree to somebody's opinion, at least respect it and don't try to debate it, because we have a right to our own opinion. And at the end of the day, from how you feel, how I feel, and everybody else feels, we still don't know what we have. I mean, maybe we'll get lucky, and I'm going to use this analogy. Maybe we'll get lucky. We got a Forrest Gump here. And the reason why I say that, I remember seeing the Forrest before I even watched the movie in the theaters. But when they released the trailer of Forrest Gump, there was a lot of information on that trailer screen. And he kind of felt like, I just seen the whole movie. And I was wrong. I did not. When I sat down and watched it maybe the first time, I'm like, no, they really didn't. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said, maybe we'll get another Forrest Gump on. If we do, awesome. I mean, it was a great movie always.
Well, I'll go see it in the theater when it opens. And I'm almost certain I'll go back and see it the next day. And then I'm almost certain that I'll go back and see it a third day. That's what I did with Age 18, because you kind of have to, because, if you're in the theater, you can't hit pause. You have to pay attention and then just watch, versus movies that are released in your home where you have the ability to hit the pause button or rewind. So now I'm looking forward to seeing it in the theater, and I'm actually glad they postponed the movie so they could do it in theaters, because I'm not a fan at video on demand. No, I don't like it. I think it's stupid. I mean, Black Widow may have done fine or whatever, but no, we need our theaters back open.
Yeah, I think that is probably what you just said. I can't imagine one. I know I could, if I think deeply, there are going to be people that say that don't have access going to a movie theater. Maybe in a wheelchair or something like. Granted, we have that access. It is available, but not everybody's neighborhood does have that access. So for the individuals that physically can't get out, I'm hoping that they do have a service for them to see it as soon as possible. Out of respect for them, but in general, every other fan out there would agree with you like I do. I cannot wait to go to the movie theater to watch, because I think we still feel like a little kid when we go to the movie theater. We see a movie that we're anxious to see, That's
for anybody watching this that can't get to a theater, I'll come pick your ass up and take you.
Actually, I did think of somebody, but he'll get his ass in the theater. I just thought of somebody.
But you got to be in Virginia. You got to be around Central Virginia. So that's the only caveat.
Yeah, I just thought of somebody in the past actually used death, and that's just closed caption. I'm trying to be a little bit more sensitive to people out there that are,
Sure.
but I don't know. Sometimes I try to remind myself, always think before you speak. But when it comes to YouTube, it's like,
yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I cannot wait. Just like you, I'm anxious to take my son, which I just want to hear tickets go on sale so I could get this one thing I love about the technology of today, to where I could get on my Fandango app or whatever, buy my tickets now. And then that way, by the time the movie comes out, I don't feel as like, well, this costs way too much. There's that dividance of kind of like a layaway, I guess you could say, where I'm spreading.
Oh God, layaway. You're showing your age with layaway.
Oh, the Kmart blue light special. No, to me, it seems like I'm budgeting, if you want, because let's face it, it's it's just, you could spread out the love of what you're throwing your money into. Because I know when I go, I got to have my popcorn and my Coke. My son, he eats some of my popcorn and his Twizzlers or Skittles and a Coke. And we're sitting in those nice, comfortable chairs. And of course, at that time, you're like, all right, when are these trailers going to end? I've already watched 25 minutes of trailers. Please start the effing movie. I'm already prepared.
Yeah. Well, we live 2 miles from a theater. It's a 20 screen theater. Commonwealth 20. It's a 20 screen theater. But if you go about 10 more miles past that, you can go to what's called a Cinebistro, which is I think it's 8 screen theater, but they feed you, they give you drinks, and it's like a date night. And the chairs, I mean, are just, you're sitting at a mini table.
Mm-hmm.
So, I went there for H18, and that's where we're going to go for this one.
That's
considering that's going to be about movie and food, $100, but worth it.
Well, how many of you are going now?
Just myself and Jennifer.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a date night.
Happy wife, happy life, as they say.
Damn right.
No, hey, if you guys have a great time then you won't even think it'd be a priceless ordeal. I'm kind of thinking maybe the following week. Oh no, I won't have Zach that weekend. But I would love to go see this at the drive-in. It's been a while since I went to the drive-in. I want to see the theater first, because the reality of it is, I mean, I love drive-ins, but there's something about when we go see films where it's dark, like it's nighttime. If it's not quite dark enough yet, real life, you're kind of like not seeing the screen the way you'd like to. I think anybody's been to the drive-in can understand what I'm saying. But I would love to.
I've been to a drive-in, yeah.
I would like to go see this at the drive-in, or I might do it that weekend. I mean, I'm already thinking Zach and I will go see it Friday night. I know I'm not going to worry about seeing it early or anything like that, like I did last time. The Thursday night midnight show.
You make a great point, because when you go to a drive-in, the one thing about a drive-in is you're outside, obviously.
Yeah.
But you feel more vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because you're not protected by a building. You're outside and you're in a car. He could come up and grab you, or a bear could come up and grab you. But that's the one thing about, being outside at a drive-in always struck me, was you're just, you're just more vulnerable to whatever fears you have. And I always thought that was a cool thing.
Yeah. Around here, it's mosquitoes. Oh, and of course the drug addicts. But well, no, the drive-in that I'm thinking, well, there's 2 of them. One, yes, the drug addicts I would fear. The other one I would go to in a heartbeat. Nah, it's out in there. It's actually, the funny thing of it is, it's called Melody 49. And so Christopher Webb, if you're watching, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's kind of out there in the Midwestern feel, where it's surrounded. It's very close to like the cornfields and everything else. So yeah, I definitely do want to go see that. Maybe that weekend will be too. And I know my son's not going to complain. If he's going to complain, then I did not raise him right. So there's no doubt about that. Well, yeah, these photos, everybody's seen them. I know I'm looking at them. Probably my favorite photo. It's like the photo says 1,000 words. Is where Michael is in the kitchen.
Yeah.
There's someone that's from a distance.
Slumped over the table. Yeah.
The way he's looking at the knife, it's interesting. You know, that photo, I'm thinking, is that the Myers kitchen? You know, then I'm like, oh, there you go. Is it? If it, you know, but it's just if I try not to analyze it too much, it's just the way he's looking at that knife. It's a really cool shot. Don't know why, it just is. Like I said, I'll send you. I'll send you these. I don't want to do it now since you are using your phone.
Sure.
And you've already. I know. I've already seen. I've seen already a few artists already that's got their mask down of the burnt concepts, and they've done an amazing. That's going to be, I say, a challenge, because if you're going to go for the same concept like what Christopher Nelson said, you know, he just took an H18 and took a torch to it. Trying to line that up, it's going to be a pain, and I figured this will be a good way to end this subject, and maybe we got to go on our ways. Yeah. What are your thoughts from just these photos alone? Because there's so many people right now, and let's face it, it's going to be until our dying day. What are your thoughts on this mask, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? I mean, if we're fortunate enough to have more films, another ranking of Myers mask, I have a gut feeling mine's always going to be the original one. It has been. It has been for over 40 years. It hasn't changed yet. So just from your perspective, I think I'm going to enjoy it more in the theater, that mask. Yeah. But just yours, right off the bat, what's your first instinct on how this mask looks to you from just the photos?
I never understood how they make latex age the way they do in movies. And also with the singed or burn hair effect, or whatever you call it. Mm-hmm. I am interested in the what they do in Halloween Ends. And naturally, you know, I was surprised because you never hear about a franchise that says this movie made $270 million. We're going to make 2 more. Yeah, so it's like, well, that kind of takes a little bit of suspense from Kills. Which Kills, obviously the title means kills. There's gonna be a lot of bodies. I'm thinking Ends is gonna be more story, or background or whatever. Right? It's gonna be interesting to see what happens. But as far as the pictures, I didn't mind them. There's one thing I don't like is when people take these pictures and brighten them up so they can expose all the detail. I'm like,
yeah. Some people
don't have to. You don't have to do that. Just don't do that. Just you know, keep it a little mystery. Keep it keep a little surprise there. Like when the total film cover came out, everybody was blowing that image up and brightening up and moving the contrast and the balance point of the lighting and all that stuff. And I'm like, you don't need to do that. Just leave it be. But that's my opinion. So anyway, in about 99 days, we will be talking about this after we've already watched it about 5 times.
Yeah. And it's one more thing I forgot. Almost when you guys are just talking about it, it's quite obvious that Michael had bandaged his hand up just from looking at this. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, you're analyzing. No, you could tell, you know, from just one photo alone, where obviously James and David, where they're going over a scene. It makes me think back in the day where John Carpenter has, you know, where they're showing him giving direction, of course. It just made me think of that. And I'm thinking, I'm like, wait, did James actually hurt himself? Is he okay? You know, because I think of Jude Courtney. I still have the photos that you sent me that when you met James Jude Courtney and all that. So I think of him as a person first. You know, gosh, I hope he's okay. But then I'm like, no, I think that's something that they have actually added. Fake hand as those. By the way, folks, if you didn't realize that, James didn't sacrifice his fingers. That's makeup. But Does Michael give himself a bandage, or was he captured? They thought he was dead again, and to stop the bleeding, they put I don't think. God, I hope. You know what? I need to shut up because I'm analyzing it in my head and then ruining it for everyone.
Well, yesterday, it was either yesterday or Thursday. I was on another channel that I moderate, and I had made the joke that Michael had seeked out Chubbs Peterson and stole his wooden hand from Happy Gilmore.
Okay. Oh man, he could do.
By the way, I will say this: Rocky IV is coming back out in theaters.
What's that?
Rocky IV is coming out in theaters. The director cut or the Sylvester Stallone cut or whatever. But yeah, that's coming back out. Rocky IV.
That's the Russian. Yeah.
Yep.
Rocky fights in Russia. That's right.
Yep. It's coming back out.
Well, if you think about it, or Sylvester Stallone, he pretty much directed most of those films. My favorite is still the original too, Rocky 1 and 2.
I like the original.
When I watch it, it just takes me back to, I hate to say it, the good old days.
Yeah.
What's good about them? I just had to live it. But I forget. Yeah, but I know he didn't direct the first one, but he directed the second one. But anyways,
correct.
Well, if it's Rocky IV, God, I maybe don't do or release the second one, but just thinking, well, he's always directed the films. Weren't they always the director's cut? What I want to do real quick, and then Chris, I'll let you say what you need to say. If you guys out there are liking what you see, like I said, keep in mind, it will naturally improve as we progress. Mm-hmm. And of course, Chris mentioned, or he asked me about doing these live. Yeah, we'll do them in the future. No doubt about it. So you can participate.
Oh, yeah.
And, obviously the chat or conversation or whatnot. But I need to know, and Chris needs to know right now, if you really want us to do more of these, we need at least 10 likes. 10 likes. Now that I think about it, this is towards the end of the video. So I may only need to see 2 likes and we'll do it again. Because you know how it is. Everybody's attention span is like mine. Hurry up. Get out of my way. You're in my way. Get out. So I'm guilty of it too. But if there is at least 10 of you watching, I need 10 likes up for us to think, okay, we'll do it again. Because this may be what do they call them? A pilot? Pilot, yeah. And the pilot never makes it. So you guys may say, no, you guys suck. We never want to see you do this again. And then we'll determine on whether or not if we really want to do it or not, whether we need your likes or not. So I figured, you know what? Why not ask him? Well, Chris, I pretty much have shared all my thoughts. I mean, I could go on and on and on, ruining it for everybody on my thoughts on these photos. You got to be somewhere at 3 o'clock. It's almost 3. I'll let you close it out, and then we'll go from there. On our way.
I will say that I'm excited that the YouTube news is saturated with, the Halloween coming up in October, which is a good thing. Because, back, 20 years ago, we didn't have this.
Yeah.
And it's actually good that we're getting a true Halloween sequel to the H-18 movie. I'm looking forward to it. Whether I hate it or like it, I'm sure I'll see it 3 times. So they'll get 3 tickets from me.
Yeah.
But no, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's a true Halloween season when you have a Halloween movie. So I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, the pictures are good. I mean, they didn't give away too much, but my favorite picture was the cover of the Total Film magazine.
Yeah.
Showing the mask. And I'm like, I'm glad they kept it more intact versus like the Rob Zombie Halloween 2 version where it's all ripped up and shredded. And I'm like, I don't want to see that.
Yeah. It just looks like baloney all torn out. I know you know what? There's people out there that love it. So I shouldn't have said baloney. My bad. I gotta respect other people's, but yeah, that way you mentioned them. Are you did see both of them, right? In other words, the mat where it has the kills, the knife, you can obviously see the reflection of Lori. So, but like I said, I'll send these all to you and you can choose to do from that. And, I like the photos too. I mean, they're great photos. I could sit here, like I said, ruin it for everybody else on what I think it's doing here. And I feel like, shut up, Scott, don't ruin it for everybody.
No, I'd rather have the photos in the trailer they released because it was just too much.
Yeah. I mean, no, you know what? I agree. 1000% on that. I bet I know people, the trailers are fun. Yes, I admit, it's kind of, if I didn't do YouTube, there's no way on earth I would have watched this trailer for the reasons that I want to go to the theater and you go, oh, wow, ooh, ah, ooh, but I'm sure I'm still going to enjoy it regardless. I already got my Halloween. I got it back in 78. I'll never experience it again. And I'm not knocking the other ones. It's just, I'm not 8 years old anymore. I'm not going to be shocked like I was back then. So as long as I have fun, that's all I ask.
And the problem with the trailer is, they show the trailer to a typical non-Halloween fan.
You're right about that. Yeah.
Those of us who are purists, we nitpick and we pause.
Yeah.
But to the average person, the trailer is really just, say, hey, got a good movie coming.
Yeah, it's spooky.
For those of us that dissect everything when it comes to the Halloween franchise, to us, small percentage, well, maybe a big percentage, we kind of figured it out. Maybe not so much in the H-18 trailer where he was in a closet because that's a dead giveaway.
Yeah.
And that kind of ruined that scene. But on the playground, I'm thinking, could have done without that.
And I thank you for not sharing that. I do. You're a better man and person than I am. Like I said, I feel like you're doing it more for me, but the people that are enjoying this that have chosen either not to watch the trailer or like me, just limited. You're a better person than I am because I think I've already screwed too many things up. And like I couldn't say it any better. The average Halloween fan or the diehards like us and others, but I was, and I'll try my best to shut up. I went to Five Guys. We got a new one here in not my hometown, but the town I live in. Right. And I'm wearing my T-shirt that I made with my cover mask that I love that photo I took of my selfie of you see the photo or that T-shirt that I'm not wearing it now, where it basically describes my other mask is not a government mandate, because the face mask.
Oh yeah,
I'm in there waiting for my food, and this girl or woman, she said, "Oh, I love your T-shirt," and I thanked her, and I said, "Well, I actually made this and all that, and the T-shirt." Mm-hmm. And she says, "Yeah, I love those movies, but my husband, I said, "Well, I'm sure you're looking forward to this October then." She's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "There's the Halloween Kills." She's like, "Oh my God, I forgot about that." And I said, "Yeah, go to YouTube and watch the trailer if you want to." And she's like, "Oh, I'm going to go home and watch it right now." So I thought that was kind of cool. So and something tells me she's just the fan, but doesn't sit there and go, "Oh my God." No, they didn't do that. Oh, that's just too much information. Why is Michael Myers a girl now? I mean, cats and dogs raining everywhere. Well, I appreciate the fact that you are going to wait to make that decision, like you said, the last video, because I wasn't thinking about your daughters. You're being way too young, and it's going to be too violent or whatever. I'm hoping that, well, if she can't see it now, we know she'll see it later. So, So, all right, Chris, well, I promise it's 3:01. I'm shutting up. I really hope we could do this again, and we'll try to make it a schedule for the viewers and all that as well. So, because you got
we can do it next week. Yeah, we can do it next week.
Yeah. I mean, that's something I think it's important, for us to keep it a routine schedule. So,
sure.
All right. Well, I'm done. You got everything else you need to say? Or I think I've said that 3 times. All righty then.
Nah, great show. I really appreciate you having me on here, though.
Well, I enjoy this. I really do. I see why people do. It's a lot of fun. It really is, and I'm hoping that people enjoy it as well. And, it'll get better for us. I know you are wanting to have you've talked to me about how, you want to have the right, audio and background and all that. It'll come right now. Just don't worry about it. You will have that studio for everybody love before. Who knows? We may end up being on Spotify or Apple, whatever it's called someday.
I just made sure that I wore clean underwear for this show, so I'm okay.
I know mine's, well, I'll have to change it again after this, but it was clean prior. All righty, Chris, it's 3:03. I better really shut up and let you go, and then I'll start editing here right away.
All right, Scott. Good talking to you, my friend.
Yeah, same here. And I will end it now. Bye, everyone.
Bye.